Qingdao is a city in eastern Shandong Province on the east coast of China, as well as one of the largest cities in Shandong Province. Administered at the sub-provincial level, Qingdao has jurisdiction over 6 districts and 4 county-level cities. As of 2014, Qingdao had a population of 9,046,200 with an urban population of 6,188,100. Lying across the Shandong Peninsula and looking out to the Yellow Sea, it borders Yantai to the northeast, Weifang to the west and Rizhao to the southwest. Qing in Chinese means cyan or greenish-blue, while Dao means island. Qingdao is a major seaport, naval base, and industrial center. The world's longest sea bridge, the Jiaozhou Bay Bridge, links the main urban area of Qingdao with Wangdao District, straddling the Jiaozhou Bay Sea areas. It is also the site of the Qingdao Brewery, the second largest brewery in China. In 2016, Qingdao ranks 79th in the Global Financial Centers Index published by the Z/Yen Group and Qatar Financial Center Authority. The other Chinese cities on the list being Hong Kong, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Beijing and Dalian. In 2007, Qingdao was named as among China's top 10 cities by the Chinese Cities Brand Value Report, which was released at the 2007 Beijing Summit of China Cities Forum. In 2009, Qingdao was named China's most livable city by the Chinese Institute of City Competitiveness. Other names: Jiaowao, a former name during the Qing dynasty. Qingdao, additional modern name for the area, refers according to locals to the shape of the coastline. Qingdao, postal romanization. Qingdao, German name during the concession period, written in German romanization of Chinese. Jiaozhou, a historical name which refers to the Jiaozhou Bay. Qiaochao, Qishao, Qirochao, romanizations of Jiaozhou. History. Ancient times. Human settlement in the area dates back 6,000 years. The Dongyi nationality, one of the important origins of the Chinese nation, lived here and created the Dawenkou, Longshan and Dongyeshi cultures. In the Eastern Zhou dynasty, the town of Jimo was established, which was then the second largest one in the Shandong region. The area in which Qingdao is located today was named Jiaowao when it was administered by the Qing dynasty on 14 June 1891. German colonial period and Japanese occupations in 1891. The Qing government decided to make coastal Qingdao a defense base against naval attack and began to improve Qingdao's existing fortifications. German naval officials observed and reported on this Chinese activity during a formal survey of Jiaozhou Bay in May 1897. Subsequently, German troops seized and occupied the fortification. China conceded the area to Germany the following year, and the Qirochao Bay Concession, as it became known, existed from 1898 to 1914, with an area of 552 square kilometers. It was located in the imperial province of Shandong on the southern coast of the Shandong Peninsula in northern China. Jiaozhou was romanized as Qiaochao, Qishao, Qiaochao in English and Qirochao in German. Qingdao was its administrative center. The so-called Marktstrasse was nothing more than the old main street of the Chinese village of Qingdao, and the buildings lining it were the former homes of fishermen and farmers. Having sold the property, they resettled their homes and fields in the villages further east. Upon gaining control of the area, the Germans outfitted the impoverished fishing village of Qingdao with wide streets, solid housing areas, government buildings, electrification throughout, a sewer system and a safe drinking water supply, a rarity in large parts of Asia at that time and later. The area had the highest school density and the highest per capita student enrollment in all of China, with primary, secondary and vocational schools funded by the Imperial German Treasury and Protestant and Roman Catholic missions. Commercial interests established their Germania brewery in 1903, which later became the world-famous Qingdao brewery. German influence extended to other areas of Shandong Province, including the establishment of diverse commercial enterprises. Identified by the German authorities as a strategically important port, Qingdao was administered by the Imperial Department of the Navy rather than the Imperial Colonial Office. The Navy based the Far East Squadron there, allowing the ships to conduct operations throughout the Pacific. Beginning January 1898, the Marines of 3 Sea Battalion were based at Qingdao. Construction of the Jiaoji Railway began on September 23, 1899, and was completed in 1904. Before the outbreak of World War I, ships of the German naval forces under Admiral Count von Spee were located at Central Pacific colonies on routine missions. The fleet then rendezvoused in the Marianas to plan a transit to Germany rather than be trapped in the Pacific by Allied fleets. After a minor British naval attack on the German colony in 1914, Japan occupied the city and the surrounding province during the siege of Qingdao after Japan's declaration of war on Germany in accordance with the Anglo-Japanese alliance. China protested Japan's violation of her neutrality but did not interfere in the operations. The decision of the Paris Peace Conference not to restore Chinese rule over Qingdao after the war triggered the May 4th movement. The city reverted to Chinese rule in December 1922, under control of the Republic of China. However, Japan maintained its economic dominance of the railway and the province as a whole. The city became a direct controlled municipality of the ROC government in July 1929. Japan reoccupied Qingdao in 1938 with its plans of territorial expansion into China's coast. On June 2, 1949, shortly before the founding of the People's Republic of China on October 1, 1949, the city was taken by Chairman Mao Zedong and his troops. Qingdao City Planning and Development. The development of Qingdao urban space during Germany-occupied period originated from the port area. Large-scale urban construction began in 1898 with the relocation of Chinese dwellers along the coast. With the completion of such series of projects as wharves, Qingdao-Jinan Railway Line, Qingdao Railway Station and locomotive works, a city was starting to take shape. The area had the highest schools density and highest per capita student enrollment in all of China, with primary, secondary and vocational schools funded by the Berlin Treasury and Protestant and Roman Catholic missions. In the year of 1910, the Germans drew up for the second time the city planning of Qingdao. As a result, the former urban area was extended for 4 times, highlighted by the emphasis on the development of commerce and trade. Sun Yat-sen visited the Qingdao area and stated in 1912, "I am impressed. The city is a true model for China's future." The development of Qingdao urban space during the first Japan occupation period. In 1914, Qingdao was taken over by Japanese and served as a base for the exploitation of natural resources of Shandong and northern China. With the development of industry and commerce, a new city district was established to furnish the Japanese colonists with commercial commercial sections and living quarters, which suggested a striking contrast to the shabby houses in the local Chinese zones. In the meantime, a number of schools, hospitals and public buildings were constructed, followed by urban streets and intercity highways as well. The urban spatial layout continued to expand northward along the Eastern Bay Area. The development of Qingdao urban space during the ROC-ruled period. This period saw the substantial progress of the urban development of Qingdao. The government engaged itself in mass construction that gave birth to villa districts at the beach and bank groups in CBD. Plenty of public buildings and facilities for the purpose of entertainment and sports were completed. By the year of 1937, the urban population numbered 385,000. Qingdao consequently distinguished itself as a prominent holiday resort and summer retreat. The development of Qingdao urban space during the Second Japan-occupied period. Japan staged a comeback to Qingdao in 1938 and started to strive for the construction of the Greater Qingdao in the following June. Accordingly, they worked out the city planning of the Greater Qingdao and the city planning of the mother town, even though they had not had the opportunity to realize them respectively. The period in question did not witness much urban progress except for the logical construction of No. 6 Wharf, some Japanese residences and a small number of roads and streets. Post-World War II. After World War II, the KMT allowed Qingdao to serve as the headquarters of the Western Pacific Fleet of the U.S. Navy in 1945. On the 2nd of June 1949, the CCP-led Red Army entered Qingdao, and the city and province have been under PRC control since that time. Since the 1984 inauguration of China's open-door policy to foreign trade and investment, Western Qingdao developed quickly as a port city. It is now the headquarters of the Chinese Navy's Northern Fleet. An early example of the open-door policy occurred on 5 November 1984, when 3 United States naval vessels visited Qingdao. This was the first U.S. port call in more than 37 years to China. US Rents, US Reeves, and US Oldendorf and their crews were officially hosted by the Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy. Northern Qingdao, particularly Shibei, Likang, and Changyang districts, are now major manufacturing centers. The city has recently experienced a strong growth period, with a new central business district created to the east of the older business district. Outside of the center of the city, there is a large industrial zone, which includes chemical processing, rubber and heavy manufacturing, in addition to a growing high-tech area. Numerous local and national service companies, rather than manufacturers, are based in the city's southern district. This, as well as local wind patterns, allows Qingdao to enjoy clean, clear air year-round. Administrative divisions. The sub-provincial city of Qingdao has 6 districts and 4 county-level cities. Geographically, there are 4 districts constituting a peninsula on the east coast of the Jiaozhou Bay, 1 on the north coast and 1 on the west coast of the Yellow Sea. Geography and climate. Qingdao is located on the south-facing coast of the Shandong Peninsula. It borders 3 prefecture-level cities, namely Yantai to the northeast, Weifang to the west, and Rizhao to the southwest. The city's total jurisdiction area occupies 10,654 square kilometers, and stretches in latitude from 35 degrees 35 to 37 degrees 09 N and in longitude from 119 degrees 30 to 121 degrees 00 E. The populated sections of the city are relatively flat, while mountains spur up within city limits and nearby. The highest elevation in the city is 1,133 meters above sea level. Of the total area of Qingdao, 15.5% is highland, while the foothill plain urban and lowland areas constitute 25.1%, 37.8% and 21.7%. The city has a 730.64 km coastline. 5 significant rivers that flow for more than 50 kilometers can be found in the region. Qingdao has a temperate, four-season, monsoon-influenced climate that lies in the transition between the humid subtropical and humid continental regimes, but favoring the former. Winter is cool to cold and windy, but generally dry, with a January average of -0.5 degrees Celsius. Summer is generally hot and humid, but very hot days are rare, with an August average of 25.3 degrees Celsius. Due to its proximity to the coast and being on a peninsula, it experiences a one-month delayed spring compared to most inland areas of China, and the annual diurnal temperature variation is only 6.3 degrees Celsius. Conversely, autumn is milder than inland areas in Shandong. The water temperature peaks at about 25 degrees Celsius in late August, with swimming possible 2 months on either side. The annual mean temperature is 12.6 degrees Celsius. Extremes since 1951 have ranged from -15.5 degrees Celsius on the 16th of January 1958 to 38.9 degrees Celsius on the 15th of July 2002. During the summer months, the beaches of Qingdao are afflicted by massive algal blooms. The decomposing algae release large amounts of hydrogen sulfide gas, which gives off the odor of rotten eggs. The blooms of sea lettuce, which are partially caused by seaweed farming in Jiangsu Province, led local officials to declare a large-scale algae disaster in 2013. Demographics. By the end of 2006, Qingdao was estimated to be the home of about 18 million inhabitants, of which around 3 million reside in the Qingdao urban area. Another estimated 5 million live in other cities under Qingdao's jurisdiction. The annual birth rate is calculated around 76,507, with a birth rate of 10.15 per year per thousand, and a death rate of 6.32, both calculated on an annual basis. Living standards are among the highest of leading Chinese cities due to the strong export economy and relatively high family wages. Qingdao is home to 38 Chinese ethnic minorities, which account for 0.14% of the city's total population. There is a large Korean community in Qingdao. By 2009, there are approximately 100,000 Koreans working, studying and living in Qingdao, which makes Qingdao the second in terms of Korean population in China, following Beijing, which has about 200,000 Koreans. Economy. An important region in eastern China, Shandong Province has seen substantial change in its economic landscape in recent years. Much of this development has been concentrated in Qingdao. Qingdao has seen rapid development, with an annual growth rate of 18.9% in 2006. The city's GDP reached 42.3 billion, ranking first in Shandong Province and 10th out of China's top 20 cities. GDP per capita comprised 52,895 yen in 2008. The GDP has grown steadily at an average pace of 16% annually. In 2006, Qingdao was ranked one of 6 golden cities by the World Bank, out of 120 Chinese cities assessed on factors including investment climate and government effectiveness. Internationally, Qingdao is perhaps best known for its Tsingtao Brewery, founded by a German-British joint venture in 1903 that produces Tsingtao beer, the best-known Chinese export beer. Korea. It is also home to Haier, a large white goods manufacturer, and Hisense, a major electronics company. In 2002, guitar manufacturer Epiphone opened a factory in Qingdao. In 1984, the Chinese government named a district of Qingdao Special Economic and Technology Development Zone. Along with this district, the entire city had gone through amazing development of secondary and tertiary industries. As an important trading port in the province, Qingdao flourishes with foreign investment and international trade. South Korea and Japan in particular made extensive investment in the city. Approximately 80,000 South Korean citizens reside there. Construction proceeds at a relatively fast pace in Qingdao. In terms of primary industry, Qingdao has an estimated 50,000 acres of arable land. Qingdao has a zigzagging pattern coastline, and thus possesses an invaluable stock of fish, shrimp, and other sea resources. Qingdao is also home to a variety of mineral resources. Up to 30 different kinds have been mined. Qingdao's wind power electricity generation performs at among the highest levels in the region. Industrial zones: Qingdao Special Economic and AMP Technological Development Area, Qingdao Free Trade Zone, Qingdao High-Tech Industrial Zone, Qingdao University Industrial Zone. Transport. Road. There are a total of 1,145 kilometers of roads in the Qingdao area, with nearly 500 kilometers of expressways. These National Trunk Highway System expressways begin a pass-through in Qingdao. Expressways that begin in Qingdao are in bold: G15 Shanghai Expressway, G18 Rongwu Expressway, G20 Qingyin Expressway, Spur Route, G2011 Qingshan Expressway, G22 Qinglan Expressway. These provincial expressways begin in a pass-through Qingdao. Expressways that begin in Qingdao are in bold: S16 Rongwei Expressway, S19 Longqing Expressway, S21 Xinwei Expressway, S24 Weicheng Expressway. Other than expressways, there are also national highways that pass through or begin in Qingdao. National highways that begin in Qingdao are in bold: G204, G206, G308, G309. In June 30, 2011, the longest bridge over water opened in Qingdao. The bridge, Haiwen Bridge, is 26.4 miles long and connects Qingdao to an offshore island, Zhuangdao. It would easily cross the English Channel and is almost 3 miles longer than the previous record holder, the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway in the American state of Louisiana. Haiwen Bridge is supported by more than 5,000 pillars and costs about 10 billion yuan, which is about $1.5 billion. The bridge was designed by the Shandong Group and the construction lasted for 4 years. Haiwen Bridge cut the commute between the city of Qingdao and the sprawling suburb of Wangdao by 30 minutes. At least 10,000 workers toiled in 2 teams around the clock to build the bridge, which was constructed from opposite ends. On the same day, the Jiaozhou Bay Tunnel opened. The tunnel brought much convenience to people by supporting public buses and making transport between the two areas more convenient. Marine. The Orient Ferry connects Qingdao with Shimonoseki, Japan. There are 2 ferry lines connecting Qingdao with South Korea. The new Golden Bridge 2 operates between Qingdao and Yantai, and a Blue Sea Ferry operates between Qingdao and Gunsan. Qingdao hosts one of the world's busiest seaports. Cooperative relations have been established with 450 ports in 130 countries worldwide. In 2003, the annual cargo handling capacity exceeded 100 million tons for the first time. The number of containers reached 3.41 million 20-foot equivalent units of cargoes. By 2011, the port had become the world's 6th busiest by total cargo cargo volume, having handled 372 million tons of cargo in that year. It is the 8th in the world in terms of TEUs. Aviation. The Qingdao Liuting International Airport, 23 kilometers away from city center, is served by 13 domestic and international airlines, operating 94 routes, 12 of which are international and regional. In 2011, Qingdao Liuting International Airport was the 16th busiest airport in the People's Republic of China with 11,716,361 passengers. A new civil aviation airport with much larger capacities will be built in Jiaozhou district. Intercity rail. Qingdao's railway development was picked up during the late 1990s. It is at the beginning of the Jiaoji Railway. Qingdao's city proper has some major railway stations: Qingdao Station, Sifang Station, Cankou Station, Great Seaport Station, etc. D and G series high-speed trains travel on the Jiaoji high-speed railway and reach speeds of 200 km per hour on the Jinan-Qingdao section. Services go to Beijing, Shanghai, Hefei, Jinan and Tianjin. Domestic rail lines connect Qingdao with many cities in China including Beijing, Lanzhou, Chengdu, Xi'an, Zhengzhou, Jinan and Jining. Public transport. Qingdao's public traffic owns 5,283 large and medium-sized buses, CNG buses as of 2012. There are also 136 trolley buses as of 2012. There are 260 bus routes and 3 trolley bus routes as of 2012. All of these buses and trolley buses can be accessed using the Qingdao Public Traffic IC card, which uses radio frequencies so the card does not have to physically touch the scanner. Non-air-conditioned buses cost 1 yuan. The volume of road passenger transport approaches 0.8 billion per year. The public transport brand of Rixin Bus is also known in China. There are a number of taxi companies in Qingdao including Yiking Company, Zhongqing Company, Zhaoyun Company and Huaking Company. Subway. After getting the approval from the State Council, the government announced on the 18th of August 2009 that Qingdao is ready to spend more than 29 billion yuan before 2016 on its subway construction. Construction of 54.7 kilometers of subway line will be completed before 2016 with a total investment of 29.2 billion yuan. Metro Line 3 is the first line in function and opened on the 16th of December 2015. In the long term, the city plans to build 8 subway lines in downtown and some suburban districts, which account for 231.5 kilometers in future. Military. Qingdao is headquarters of the North Sea Fleet of the People's Liberation Army Navy. Culture. Architecture. There is a large number of German-style buildings in Qingdao city center, remarkable considering the German colonial period only lasted 16 years. The unique combination of German and Chinese architecture in the city center, combined with German demographic roots and a large Korean expatriate population, gives Qingdao a distinct atmosphere. An old saying described Qingdao as a city of red tiles, green trees, blue sky and blue sea. Quote, this saying indeed gives a picture of bird view of Qingdao. A larger number of areas in former foreign styles are well preserved. Although the new city area is under large-scale reconstruction, the old city area still retains many traditional buildings. Celebrities Marjian, Xiao Hong, Xiao Jun, Duanmu Hongliang, Sun Li, Li Zhaoxing, Victoria Song, Hu Wang Xiaoming, Hu Wangbo. Other notable people include Gao Fenggan, Toshiro Mifune, Li Kengxin, Hu Wang Xiaoming, Chen Hao, Chia Yu, Fan Bingbing, Wang Dong. Movies shot in Qingdao: The Great Wall 2016, Underdog Fight 2008, Underdog Fight 2 2013, Ocean Paradise 2010, Beauty Remains 2005. Language. During the city's colonial days, German was the official language and rigorously taught and promoted. Since the demise of Germany's colonial empire during World War I, the German language is virtually dead here and left little impact on the local languages. A local accent known as Qingdao dialect distinguishes the residents of the city from those of the surrounding Shandong Province. Due to the efforts by the city government to promote standard Mandarin, most educated people can speak that dialect in addition to the native dialect. With reform policies and English teaching, some young citizens have been taught English and many can converse with English-speaking foreigners. Business and traffic signs in English are becoming more and more common. Cuisine. Seafood is a typical delicacy of the coastal city, divided into two categories: great seafood, including sea cucumbers, abalones, shark's fin, prawns, crabs, conch, and some big fish, and little seafood, comprising squid, shrimps, octopus, oysters, razor clams, periwinkles, yellow croakers, etc. Generally, fresh seafood is served in every hotel. The distinctive cuisine of the area is lukai, the Shandong regional style. Festivals. The Qingdao International Horticultural Exposition 2014 is the biggest international fair that has been held in the history of the city. Other important festivities include Qingdao International Beer Festival in August-September, held annually since 1991. China International Afforestation Fair, since 2003. APEC SMEs Technology Conference and Fair. China Qingdao Fishing Competition. Qingdao Bar Culture Festival. China International Exposition of Electronic Home Appliances. China Qingdao Ocean Festival. China International Maritime Exhibition. Qingdao International Fashion Week. China International Fishery Fair. China Qingdao International Hot Air Balloon Festival. Qingdao International Beach Festival. Media. Qingdao previously had a large German community and a German garrison, so 3 German newspapers operated in Qingdao. German papers included Deutsche Asiatische Warte, the Tsingtao Neueste Nachrichten, and the Girochao Post-Bacon Session. German publishing in Qingdao ended after World War I and the beginning of the Japanese administration. A 1912 publication of the United States Department of Commerce, Bureau of Foreign and Domestic Commerce said that the Tageblatt für Nordchina of Tianjin was read in Qingdao, and that major newspapers from Shanghai were also read in Qingdao.